we feel that whenever we give a speech, so if it is a contest, we want like to win the trophy. So if it is not a contest, what is that? A single expectation. All of us as a speaker, we want our audience to remember our speech. Of the audience when you give a speech.
Maybe at that time.
If it is humorous speech, it will last longer.
Yeah.
People come out with different answers, and generally it is believed that half of it only will be retained by the audience, 50% or 60% or 55%, right? So that is what people retain. But today I'm going to give you some tips so that your speech would be remembered more than 100 times. How is that? What is that magic? And how can we do that? 4 tips I'm going to share. Right. So these are some of the books from my library. Can you figure out some common connect between these books?
Small. These are all small in numbers or pages.
Okay, not really. So some of you may jump in and say that these books have sold million copies. Beyond that, the common thread, what I'm expecting you for you to remember is so the common connect is metaphors. All these books have a metaphoric title, and the authors have extensively used metaphors during their speeches, in their the book continuously. And in fact, when we mean for example, Dr. Spencer Johnson, when he means cheese and who moved by cheese book, he is not literally meaning about a dairy product. He is talking about opportunities and how we are not supposed to miss out the opportunities. Like that, each one of the authors, they have come out with the metaphors to make these books an interesting one. So let me go back to basics. I think because many of us would have completed CC. In CC, project number 4 talks about power of words, rhetoric devices, wherein we have tried to understand the difference between metaphor and simile. So the definition of metaphor is we are trying to equate one thing with the other, which are not same, but one common trait is there. For example, if I say that he has got the heart of a lion, so it means that he has got the strongest heart. So like that, but there is a subtle difference between metaphor and simile. Simile, we try to use the word like or as, like or as. But because of that, the power of simile is slightly lesser than a metaphor. Whereas we are trying to equate, we don't use those comparison words. Then our metaphors have become powerful. For example, there are 4 different types of metaphors, broad categories. Number 1 is standard. So it is explicit and anyone can immediately understand without any external explicit explanation. For example, if I say she has got a golden heart, it means she has a pure heart. Then the second one is slightly complex. So someone may have to explain or someone has to put extra effort to understand. It is known as implied metaphor. All the world is a stage and all women and men are actors. So whose words are there?
Shakespeare.
Yes, William Shakespeare. So he uttered this metaphor long time back, but still we remember that because we know the power of metaphor. Then the third one is known as a visual metaphor. Visual metaphors are generally used by marketing companies, ad agencies, right? For example, whenever a powerful car is brought into market, they try to equate to a Jaguar or a Cheetah, right, to show the power. But in this case, the Nissan Navara, so they are trying to promote a car called the Nissan. This model is a versatile pickup car. So if you are going for a picnic or hiking, you can carry a boat, you can carry a ski board. So it is so versatile. So they try to use a Swiss Army knife. I think all of you would have seen a Swiss Army knife, which is very versatile. It can be used for multiple purpose. So that is what they try to combine and then show it as a visual metaphor. Then the last one is known as the extended metaphor. So in the extended metaphor, either the author or the speaker or the creator, they will use the metaphor throughout their artifact. So whether it is a book or a speech. For example, Robert Frost's poem, The Road Not Taken. So the road not taken, here he is not talking about, he is not at all talking about the physical road. he's talking about different kind of opportunities or options. So when you choose a option which is not very popular, at the end of the day, you should not regret. So that is what, throughout the word, he talks about roads and roads, path, etc. So that is known as extended metaphor. And today I'm going to focus more about the extended metaphor. So even if you see the metaphorical speeches of the history, there are several speeches which have become so memorable. For example, Winston Churchill gave a speech in 1940, the title "Blood, Toil, Tears, and Sweat." Actually, he is not mentioning the literal meaning of blood, toil, tears, and sweat. He's talking about how people have to put their hardship, right? So that is why it has so become powerful. And the most popular, especially Toastmasters are familiar with this speech, Martin Luther King speech, "I have a dream," right? So, and not only he is using it as a metaphor, he's also using it as a repetitive phrase. When he mentioned about a dream, it is not the dream that we get into our ordinary sleep. So here he is talking about opportunities or the future world where the black would be treated on par with the white. So again, coming back to the non-political speech, Steve Jobs connecting the dots. So the convocation speech at the Stanford University, many people quote it and many people use it as a theme of the day. So here again, he is not mentioning about the rangoli or the kolam or any decorative stuff. When he meant connecting the dot, he means that we have to make a retrospect and we have to follow some pattern with our own previous experiences. Finally, that will take us to a clue in the future. And this is the kind of advice he was giving to the youngsters, the graduating youngsters. And these big the speeches have become so popular because they have extensively used the metaphors. And coming back to our own world champions of public speaking, I think some of these speeches have become so popular. Mark Hunter, though he was sitting in a wheelchair, but he did a fantastic delivery, a sink full of green tomatoes, and he made that speech a memorable one. And our own Manoj Vasudevan, pull less, bend more. He is trying to use a visual metaphor, bow and arrow, and pull less and bend more. So in fact, he's not talking about the artifact, he is talking about the actions, pulling and bending, and he is trying to equate it with how we have to manage or maneuver our own lifestyle. Then coming to the latest one, to 2018, Ramona Smith, she was talking about still standing, right? She is talking about our life into three different scenarios, and she is trying to equate to a boxer's ring. And she was saying that every fall she used to get up and now again ready. So not only she was trying to prepare the script, even with her delivery, still we are able to remember that. So this is how the celebrity speakers have made use of the metaphors to a great extent. Long time back, it was in 1993, I visited Hyderabad for a conference organized by the Indian Institution of Industrial Engineers. So as usual, the conference was 3 days and we had an overwhelming agenda. So many talks, look, cliche topic, excellence, retrospect and prospect, organizational analysis, professional excellence, organizational excellence. Every topic looked similar and we were all fed up. But still, I remember this conference even after 25 years. It is not because of the Hyderabad biryani or something else. So it is because of one particular topic by one Professor Harinarayan Sharma. This Harinarayan Sharma, he was also one of the conference co-chairs, and he came and talked about the importance of industrial engineers. And his speech title was, "While Rome is burning, why are you playing a second fiddle, Mr. Industrial Engineer?" I think now you are able to connect that this is something to do with the Nero playing the second fiddle when the Rome was playing. So here he says that when the organization is struggling, when there is a productivity loss, no profit kind of situation, it is the job of the industrial engineer to jump in and then do something. So now you are not supposed to do the second fiddling with others. And because of that, still I remember the speech. In fact, he exceeded the given time and the entire mob, the audience asked the conference chair to give him additional 30 minutes. So I vividly remember that particular talk. And I have used, knowing the power of metaphors, I have used metaphors in some of my speeches, especially contest speech. So when I try to talk about the inner voice, I try to equate with the North Star in you. So like how North Star was guiding the age-old travelers, the travelers used to take care of the North Star as the guiding force. So our inner voice is our North Star. So throughout this speech, I try to equate the inner voice with the North Star. Then again, another speech where I try to explain about honesty and integrity, I was trying to equate to a CCTV camera. And a tomato is a fruit. Knowing tomato is a fruit is knowledge, but not to put it in fruit salad is wisdom. So actually, this is not my original quote, but when I heard it for the first time, I got goosebumps. So then I tried to make use of a speech made out of this adage or a popular saying. And in the recent times, last US presidential election, the top two candidates, Donald Trump and the Biden, both of them, they have extensively used metaphors. So unfortunately, I am unable to recollect the count. I think in 6 of their speeches, I think each one of them on an average, they have used more than 300 metaphors because the metaphors are powerful. So that is why they have used it. And how to do, how can we as a Toastmaster or a speaker use extended metaphor? So again, I am going to use a metaphor to convey my own message. Metaphors are ammunition, use them strategically. Metaphors are vehicles, reach your destination effortlessly. Metaphors are tools, use them wisely. Okay, so we all know that X is equal to Y, and this is what we want to convey. Whatever I want to convey, that should reach the mass. But X can be more than Y to when you start using metaphors. How it can be done? So if a picture is worth 1,000 words, then a metaphor is worth 1,000 pictures. So this is what we know. So I think most of you may be thinking about this one. Okay, stop trying to be a grammar teacher. Now tell us some tips. So let this session be a little more useful. Yes, I'm getting into it. I'm going to share 4 tips. First, use the observer hat. So whenever you see some phrases, don't complete the phrase. Try to fill up the gaps. For example, when someone says silence is, then what will come to your mind?
Golden.
Golden. Truth is,
bitter,
time is,
Gold.
crucial,
Precious.
Gold.
Precious.
money. Time is
Time
money.
is money.
Okay.
Pooh.
So
Time is money.
I think all of us would be familiar with that. But whenever you see such kind of sentences, look into them in a conscious mode. So then you will understand the power of metaphor. Now, then coming back to visual metaphors, right? Whenever you see an ordinary object, whatever you see in our day-to-day objects, for example, if you take an apple, what will come to your mind? One single word.
Doctor.
Doctor. Okay, because the proverb says, an apple a day keeps the doctor away, and if the doctor is handsome, keep the apple away. Okay. What else? Apple.
iPhone.
iPhone. Okay. Then Adam and Eve. Sin.
Innovation.
Newton. Gravity.
Newton.
Gravity.
Right?
Yeah.
So even New York City is known as the Big Apple. I don't know the reason. Then how about candle? When you think of candle, what else come to your mind?
Education.
candlelight dinner,
Because candle can light another candle, but does not lose anything by lighting another candle. So knowledge sharing. Okay. What else?
Candlelight dinner.
Sacrifice. Right. Okay.
We're talking
Then-
about metaphors, Shankar.
Yes.
You have jumped into the speeches.
Yes. So then how about jackfruit? So when you want to introduce me, you can say that Sundararaman is like a jackfruit. He looks odd at outside, but he is so kind and sweet, right, inside. So you can introduce me like that. So like that, every day-to-day object, think with a different perspective. This will also be useful for your table topic. So this is something like reverse engineering. So when we go to table topic contest, we try to bring in a metaphor, but instead of that, you start seeing day-to-day objects with a metaphoric outlook, metaphoric perspective. Then the next step is wearing the researcher hat. So what you are supposed to do is, so this is the most important step, which will be really, really be useful. For example, I am a person who is going to talk about investing money, like our DTM Romlingam. So outside Toastmaster, I want to go and talk about investment money. So what are all the different kind of objects? But this is slightly boring subject for person who was not interested in money or investment kind of stuff. How can we make it more interesting? Go to Google and then type for codes on investing money. So you are getting almost 15 million results. Again, it is overwhelming, no use. Now go and choose that image option and Google it. Now you will come to know about different kind of images that are carrying codes. But again, it is not really useful. Now drop the codes, just type in investing money. So now I am getting different kind of images, right? You have to use permutation combination and look for different kind of objects. Now, are you able to figure out some pattern or thread here? The image is shown by Google.
Increasing trend.
Increasing trend. What else?
Growth.
Growth. Okay. But metaphorically,
Starting with small and it grows big, something like that.
so see
No,
here, if you
plants.
see
Plants.
plants are shown there. No, that to growing plants. Growing plants are shown as. But I was looking for investing money. So what does money to do with the plants? So like investing money, you also put a seed and then you start nurturing it, and after some time it grows and it gives benefits. Now I got the idea, right? The bingo. So now I can think of a topic, even I can come out with a metaphoric title. So instead of saying that I'm going to give an education session on investing on money, I can say money forming magic can be made. This is my idea. Probably if you are the person, you can think of something else. So now under money forming magic, what all I can talk, I can divide the entire speech into six segments. First, I can start with the plant seeds of the wealth. Then growing plants, growing money is like putting having a garden with a variety of plants. So whenever you go to people like Ramalingam, they'll say that don't invest in mutual funds. You should not put all your eggs in. Again, they are using a metaphor. No? You should not put all your eggs into one basket. You have to put it in different baskets. Some money in mutual funds, some money in gold, some money in shares, something in. So this is like your garden. And then replace struggling plants. Even though the gardener loves the plants, but often he will come and prunes some plants which are not growing. So it is the job, otherwise the growing plants will get retarded. So you have to remove ungrowing plants. So some way, in a similar manner in your portfolio, if something is not growing, you have to do some kind of optimization. And you have to wait for the organic growth. Nothing will happen overnight. You have to give adequate time. So that is known as organic growth. So you cannot, even though you put chemical fertilizer, you have to wait for certain days. Then finally you have to harvest in dry time. If you don't harvest in dry time, the fruit will get spoiled and you will not reap the benefit. And finally you have to enjoy the fruits of your investment. So now imagine, instead of giving a plain technical informative speech, now you can bring in a lot of stories. So metaphors help you to coming out with stories, and the audience will be able to remember your stories even after so many times. Then the next one is wearing your experiencer hat, right? I am showing you two images. I think I already talked about these images in one of my speeches in Meraki. So there are two shapes. Which one is Booba and which one is Kiki? Quickly, can you respond? So the round one, is it Booba, or the starry one is the Booba?
Story one is Boba. Just a guess.
Okay. Why?
So always no. There will be some twist when you ask. So I said I just picked up the second one for the first one.
Right. So actually, this experiment was conducted by one Indian neurologist in USA, Dr. Vilaynur Ramachandran, for some other purpose. When he did, 99.9% of the audience, they agreed with whatever Bala said, that the round object, the round amoeba kind of structure as the Booba, and the starry one as Kiki, right? So because I cannot give a reason, I cannot give a rationale behind it, but 99% of the audience, they agree with. So whenever you try to come out with a metaphor, try to see whether the audience responds. So whether it will be relished by the audience, whether it will be accepted by the audience. So even when I talked about the winning speech of Ramona, she talked about this boxer's ring. So probably the same speech may not sell in a Chennai-based audience, because none of us have seen a boxer ring, right? So the jargons or the metaphors used by the speaker may not be connecting with the audience. So when you are making a speech, when you give a metaphor, check and take the feedback whether the audience, they are able to understand. So long time back, 10 years back, people used to, whoever is giving an education session about Toastmasters, they say that at the end they'll conclude, see here, Toastmaster is like an ocean. So you can go with a bucket or a spoon. It's up to you. So don't pay 6,000 rupees and come as a mute spectator. So you have to leverage. So when the very first time when I heard this, I got goosebumps and I shamelessly copied in all my education session. But after some time, so I was trying to where the experience I had, and I was trying to ponder about it. So whether I bring a spoon or a bucket, how far the spoon, the seawater is going to be useful for me, unless I am a salt manufacturer. It is nowhere going to be useful. Then I try to give a different kind of twist. So I try to equate Toastmasters like a buffet dinner, right? So you pay 500 rupees for a buffet dinner or 1,000 rupees for a buffet dinner. So it is not, you are not supposed to go and grab the Thai sadam, right? So you are supposed to, even if you don't know the name of the dish, you have to maximize, right? So you have to get the return on investment. So like that, when you go and join a Toastmaster, try to maximize it, play different roles, improve your leadership skills or improve your public speaking skills. Don't. So I don't know whether the audience liked it, but some of them they given positive feedback and I liked it. So initially to start with simple, the cliched anecdotes, no problem. But after some time, you start retrospecting and then come out with innovative metaphors. That is how you are going to do this. So finally, let me conclude this. Actually, this presentation was meant for some other audience where I tried to conclude my speech with a magic, but today I'm not prepared for that. So today with this slide, let me conclude my session. When you start using metaphors, the audience, they are not only going to remember what you have said, they are going to remember your speech beyond what you have said, right? So that is what we had done in the clinical analysis of WCP, right? So actually, Mike Carr said he spoke for 7 minutes, but all of us, we discussed for 1.5 hours. No, we try to come out with our own interpretations, and because that speech become more memorable. So start implementing the power of metaphors, and your speech would become so memorable. So with that, let me conclude my education session. Thank you so much. Okay.